Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books here at the live studios in Radha Lane. That's 3402 Radha Lane, Houston, Texas, 77018. In case you want to send us something, you can do it at that address. It's a real address, it's not just made up. Okay. I heard this wonderful thing from Gopi Puranadana Prabhu today I'd like to share with you. He was talking about the Srimad-Bhagavatam because he was very attached to the Bhagavatam. Hear me that our techie has remembered to plug the phone in.
No
Hare
one's
Krishna.
tuned in yet.
What?
I said no one was tuned in yet.
Oh, okay, it was just me then. Okay, I was listening to Gopi Puranadana Prabhu today, and he was talking about Srimad-Bhagavatam, and you know, Srimad-Bhagavatam, it was his life. His school was about, it was kind of advertised as a Sanskrit school, but it wasn't a Sanskrit school. It was a Bhagavat Vidya something. Can't remember the Sanskrit. It was a school to teach how to be a person Bhagavat. You know, there's two kinds of Bhagavats. There's the book Bhagavat and there's a person Bhagavat. And we're meant to become person Bhagavats, walking Bhagavats, so that other people will become Bhagavats by being with us. And he was talking about this. There was one verse in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, Shu Shu Shro Sharadanasya Vasudeva Gata Ruchi Syan Mahat Vishyam Vipra. Shushu means eager to hear. So when you hear every day like this, that's one of the tests. You want to hear, you relish her, you want to hear more. Every day you want to hear. And then Sharada means you have faith in the source. And therefore it goes deeper and it gives you realizations. If you're eager and you're not ready to just argue, you're eager and you want to hear with faith, without argument, then it gives realization. And as the realization increases, the relish increases. That's the real relish. It isn't the information that you get. It's not a scholarly activity. It's not that you learn all the facts and the figures and this and that, although that can also come with time. But the test is whether you're actually relishing. I took some notes. So the real test of whether one is a rasika is he actually getting pleasure from hearing, is whether he likes to hear the knowledge again and again. It's more enjoyable the more we hear, because repeated hearing with faith and enthusiasm gives realization and real pleasure. So there's a class of devotees who hear Gita, and then they want to go on to the Bhagavatam, then they want to go on to like that. They don't realize, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the acharyas, they love to hear again and again, again and again. And as they hear, because if you hear it, and then you hear it again next year, you'll hear a lot more. Absolutely. And then you hear the next time you hear it again, it'll be more. And because that's one of the reasons the Bhagavatam is so big, because it takes you time to get through it. If you read 41 pages a day, every single day, you'll go through the Bhagavatam in a year. Then when you come back to it again, it's been a year since you've heard it. And then you get more from it, and then your taste increases more. And like that, if you just keep doing that, Maya can't come in. And time, which causes us to forget, won't be able to cause you to forget. Even if you can't remember details, the next time you hear it, it will become more deeper, more realized, and more relishable. This is how we become person Bhagavats. Okay, that's my little dab of nectar for the day from Gopi Puranadana Prabhu. Let's hear from Sanatana Goswami, and one of the lines that Gopi was quoting was from this prayer that we read every day. Think about it. Mareka bandhu mat sangin, mad guru man mahadana, man nastab what is it, mud? Yeah, man nistarga madbhag, yeah. Madananda namostate. My only friend, my constant companion. How can somebody be your constant companion unless you're with them all the time? Right? My spiritual master. How can it be the spiritual master unless we have faith in what we're hearing? My great wealth. How can we not appreciate it? We think it's valuable. You're getting the most valuable thing. My savior. You know, how are you going to know what to do and how to get out of this hellhole, the material world? My good fortune. The source of ecstasy. That's the pleasure. Okay, let's hear the whole thing. Srimad-Bhagavatam Mahima Stotram, Sanatan Goswami's glorification of the Srimad-Bhagavatam, and it goes like this. Sarva Shastabdipi Yusha, Sarva Vedaika Satpala, Sarva Siddhanta Ratnadya, Sarva Lokaika Drikprada. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana, Srimad Bhagavata Prabho, Kalidvandoditaditya, Sri Krishna Parivartita. O life, heir of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master, Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Sri Krishna. Paramananda Padaya, Prema Varshaksharayate, Sarvada Sarvasevyaya, Sri Krishnaya Namostume. I bow down to you, who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Sri Krishna himself. Madekabando matsangin, madguro man mahadana, man nistadaga madbhagya, mad ananda namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu sadutadayin atini chutatakara hanamun chakadachin mam premnarit kantayospura. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 So, we've heard how Puru, the youngest son, got the position from his father Yayati of the king of the whole world. And his other brothers got other parts because he was submissive to the father, gave him his youth, took his invalidity in return. So now we're going to hear chapter 20 of the 9th canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam, the Dynasty of Puru. This chapter describes the history of Puru and his descendant Dushmanta. The son of Puru was Janamejaya, and his son was Prajinban. The sons and grandsons in the line of Prajinban, one after another, were Pravira, Manusha, Charupada, Sudya, Bahugava, Sanyati, Ahangyati, and Raudrashva. Raudrashva had 10 sons: Riteya, Kaksheyu, Standileyu, Kritayuka, Jaleyu, Sanateyu, Dharmeyu, Satyeyu, Vrateyu, and Saneyu. The sons of Riteyu were Rantinava, who had 3 sons, Sumati, Dhruva, and Apratirata. The son of Apratirata was Kanva, and Kanva's son was Medathiti. The sons of Medatiti, headed by Praskana, were all Brahmanas. The son of Rantinava, named Sumati, had a son named Rebi, and his son was Dushmanta. While hunting in the forest, Dushmanta once approached the ashram of Maharshi Kanva, where he saw an extremely beautiful woman. Here we go again. It's like ninth canto. It's all about this. How to avoid being attracted to the opposite sex. That woman, where he saw an extremely beautiful woman, became attracted to her. The woman was the daughter of Vishwamrita, and her son was Shakuntala. Her mother was Menaka, who had left her in the forest, where Kanva Muni found her. Kanva Muni brought her to his ashram, where he raised and maintained her. When Shakuntala accepted Maharaj Dushmanta as her husband, he married her according to the Gandharva Vidhi. Shakuntala later became pregnant by her husband, who left her in the ashrama of Kanva Muni and returned to his kingdom. In due course of time, Shakuntala gave birth to a Vaishnava son, but Dushmanta, having returned to the capital, forgot what had taken place. Oh, really? Therefore, when Shakuntala approached him with her newly born child, Maharaj Dushmanta refused to accept them as his wife and son. Later, however, after a mysterious omen, the king accepted them. After Maharaj Dushmanta's death, Bharat, the son of Shakuntala, was enthroned. He performed many sacrifices, in which he gave great riches and charity to the Brahmanas. This chapter ends by describing the birth of Bharadwaj and how Maharaj Bharat accepted Bharadwaj as his son. Text 1. Shukadeva Goswami said, O Maharaj Parikshit, descendant of Maharaj Bharat, I shall now describe the dynasty of Puru, in which you were born, in which many saintly kings appeared, and from which many dynasties of Brahmanas began. Purport. There are many historical instances by which we can understand that from Kshatriyas many Brahmanas have been born, and that from Brahmanas many Kshatriyas have been born. The Lord himself says in Bhagavad Gita 4.13, Chaturvarnyam maya shrishtam gunakarma vibhagashaha. According to the three modes of material nature and the work ascribed to them, the four divisions of human society were created by me. Therefore, regardless of the family in which one takes birth, when one is qualified with the symptoms of a particular section, he is to be described accordingly. Yalakshanam proktam, one's place in the Varna divisions of society is determined according to one's symptoms or qualities. This is maintained everywhere in the Shastra. Birth is a secondary consideration. The first consideration is one's qualities and activities. Text 2. King Janamejaya was born of this dynasty of Puru. Janamajaya's son was Prachinban, and his son was Pravira. Thereafter Pravira's son was Manusha, and from Manusha came the son named Charupada. Text 3. The son of Charupada was Sudyu, and the son of Sudyu was Bahugava. Bahugava's son was Samyati. From Samyati came a son named Ahangyati, from whom Raudrashwa was born. 4 and 5. Raudrashwa had 10 sons, named Riteyu, Kaksheyu, Standileyu, Kriteyukta, Yuka, Jaleyu, Sanateyu, Dameyu, Satyeyu, Ratyeyu, and Vaneyu. Of these 10 sons, Vaneyu was the youngest. As the 10 senses, which are products of the universal life, act under the control of life, These 10 sons of Raudrashva acted under Raudrashva's full control. All of them were born of the Apsara named Ritachi. Text 6. Ritayu had a son named Rantinava, who had 3 sons named Sumati, Dhruva, and Apratirata. Apratirata had only 1 son, whose name was Kanva. The son of Kanva was Medatiti, whose sons, all Brahmanas, were headed by Praskana. The son of Rantinava, named Sumati, had a son named Rebi. Maharaj Dushmanta is well known as the son of Rebi. Text 8 and 9. Once, when King Dushmanta went to the forest to hunt and was very much fatigued, he approached the residence of Kanva Muni. There he saw a most beautiful woman who looked exactly like the goddess of fortune and who sat there illuminating the entire ashram by her effulgence. The king was naturally attracted by her beauty, and therefore he approached her, accompanied by some of his soldiers, and spoke to her. Text 10. Seeing the beautiful woman, the king was very much enlivened, and the fatigue of his hunting excursion was relieved. He was, of course, very much attracted because of lusty desires, and he inquired from her as follows, in a joking mood. Text 11. In England, they call this chatting someone up. Text 11. O beautiful lotus-eyed woman, who are you? Whose daughter are you? What purpose do you have in this solitary forest? Why are you staying here? Text 12. O most beautiful one, it appears to my mind that you must be the daughter of a Kshatriya. Because I belong to the Puru dynasty, my mind never endeavors to enjoy anything irreligiously. Purport. Maharaj Dushmanta indirectly expressed his desire to marry Shakuntala, for she appeared to his mind to be the daughter of some Kshatriya king. Text 13. Shakuntala said, I am the daughter of Vishwamrita. My mother, Menaka, left me in the forest. O hero, the most powerful saint, Kanva Muni, knows all about this. Now let me know, how may I serve you? Purport. Shakuntala informed Maharaj Dushmanta that although she never saw or knew her father or mother, Kanva Muni knew everything about her, and she had heard from him that she was the daughter of Vishwamrita, and that her mother was Menaka, who had left her in the forest. 14. O king with eyes like petals of a lotus, kindly come sit down and accept whatever reception we can offer. We have a supply of nivara rice that you may kindly take, and if you so desire, stay here without hesitation. Text 15. He's hooked. King Dushmanta replied, O Shakuntala, with beautiful eyebrows, you have taken your birth in the family of the great saint Vishwamrita, and your reception is quite worthy of your family. Aside from this, the daughters of a king generally select their own husbands. Purport. In her reception of Maharaj Dushmanta, Shakuntala clearly said, Your Majesty may stay here, and you may accept whatever reception I can offer. Thus she indicated that she wanted Maharaj Dushmanta as her husband. As far as Maharaj Dushmanta was concerned, he desired Shakuntala as his wife from the very beginning, as soon as he saw her. So the agreement to unite as husband and wife was natural. To induce Shakuntala to accept the marriage, Maharaj Dushmanta reminded her that as the daughter of a king, she could select her husband in an open assembly. In the history of Aryan civilization, there have been many instances in which famous princesses have selected their husbands in open competitions. For example, it was in such a competition that Sita Devi accepted Lord Ramachandra as her husband, and that Draupadi accepted Arjuna. There are many other instances. So marriage by agreement or by selecting one's own husband in an open competition is allowed. There are 8 kinds of marriage, of which marriage by agreement is called Gandharva marriage. Generally, the parents select the husband or wife for their daughter or son, but Gandharva marriage takes place by personal selection. Still, although marriage by personal selection or by agreement took place in the past, we find no such thing as divorce by disagreement. Of course, divorce by disagreement took place among low-class men, but marriage by agreement was found even in the very highest classes, especially in the royal Kshatriya families. Maharaj Dushmanta's acceptance of Shakuntala as his wife was sanctioned by Vedic culture. How the marriage took place is described in the next verse. Text 16. When Shakuntala responded to Maharaj Dushmanta's proposal with silence, the agreement was complete. Then the king, who knew the laws of marriage, immediately married her by chanting the Vedic pranava, Omkara, in accordance with the marriage ceremony as performed among the Gandharvas. Purport. The Omkara pranava is the Supreme Personality of Godhead represented by letters. Bhagavad Gita says that the letters A-U-M combined together as Om represent the Supreme Lord. Religious principles are meant to invoke the blessings and mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who says in Bhagavad Gita that he is personally present in sexual desires that are not contrary to religious principles. So that doesn't mean, gentlemen, that just because you have lusty desire, that means it's religious. Hare Krishna. The word vidina means according to religious principles. The association of men and women according to religious principles is allowed in the Vedic culture. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we allow marriage on the basis of religious principles, but the sexual combinations of men and women as friends is irreligious and is not allowed. Text 17. King Dushmanta, who never discharged semen without a result, placed his semen at night in the womb of his queen, Shakuntala, and in the morning he returned to his palace. Thereafter, in due course of time, Shakuntala gave birth to a son. Text 18. In the forest, Kanva Muni performed all the ritualistic ceremonies concerning the newborn child. Later, the boy became so powerful that he would capture a lion and play with it. Text 19. Shakuntala, the best of beautiful women, along with her son, whose strength was insurmountable, and who was a partial expansion of the Supreme Godhead, approached her husband, Dushmanta. 20. When the king refused to accept his wife and son, who were both irreproachable, an unembodied voice spoke from the sky as an omen and was heard by everyone present. Purport. Maharaj Dushmanta knew that Shakuntala and the boy were his own wife and son, but because they came from outside and were unknown to the citizens, he at first declined to accept them. Shakuntala, however, was so chaste that an omen from the sky declared the truth, so that others could hear. When everyone heard from the omen that Shakuntala and her child were truly the king's wife and son, the king gladly accepted them. Text 21. Material existence means when what other people think of you is the most important thing. The voice said, "O Maharaj Dushmanta, a son actually belongs to his father, whereas the mother is only a container like the skin of a bellows. According to Vedic injunctions, the father is born as the son. Therefore maintain your own son and do not insult Shakuntala." Purport. According to the Vedic injunction, Atma vai putra namasi, the father becomes the son. The mother is simply like a storekeeper because the seed of the child is placed in her womb, but it is the father who is responsible for maintaining the son. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that he is the seed-giving father of all living entities, aham bija pradapita, and therefore he is responsible for maintaining them. This is also confirmed in the Vedas, eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. Although God is one, he maintains all living entities with their necessities for life. The living entities in different forms are sons of the Lord, and therefore the Father, the Supreme Lord, supplies them food according to their different bodies. The small ant is supplied a grain of sugar, and the elephant is supplied tons of food, but everyone is able to eat. Therefore, there is no question of overpopulation. Because the Father, Krishna, is fully opulent, there is no scarcity of food. And because there is no scarcity, the propaganda of overpopulation is only a myth. Actually, one suffers for want of food when material nature, under the order of the Father, refuses to supply him food. It is the living entity's position that determines whether food will be supplied or not. When a diseased person is forbidden to eat, this does not mean that there is a scarcity of food. Rather, the diseased person requires the treatment of not being supplied with food. In Bhagavad Gita 7.10, the Lord also says, Bijam Mam Sarvabhutanam. I am the seed of all living entities. A particular type of seed is grown within the earth, and then a particular type of tree or plant comes out. The mother resembles the earth, and when a particular type of seed is sown by the Father, a particular type of body takes birth. Text 22. O King Dushmanta, he who discharges semen is the actual father, and his son saves him from the custody of Yamaraj. You are the actual procreator of this child. Indeed, Shakuntala is speaking the truth. Purport. Upon hearing the omen, Maharaj Dushmanta accepted his wife and child. According to Vedic Smriti, Punnamno Narakat Yasmat Pitaram Trayate Sutaha Tasmat Putra Iti Prokta Swayam Eva Swayam Bhuva. Because a son delivers his father from punishment in hell called Put, the son is called Putra. According to this principle, when there is a disagreement between the father and mother, it is the father, not the mother, who is delivered by the son. But if the wife is faithful and firmly adherent to her husband, when the father is delivered, the mother is also delivered. Consequently, there is no such thing as divorce in the Vedic literature. A wife is always trained to be chaste and faithful to her husband, for this helps her achieve deliverance from any abominable material condition. This verse clearly says, Putro Nayati Naradeva Yamachatra Namachayat. The son saves her father. The son saves his father from the custody of Yamaraj. It never says Putro Nayati Matranam. The son saves his mother. The seed-giving father is delivered, not the storekeeper mother. Consequently, husband and wife should not separate under any condition. For if they have a child whom they raise to be a Vaishnava, he can save both the father and mother from the custody of Yamaraj and punishment in hellish life. Text 23. Shukadeva Goswami said, when Maharaj Dushmanta passed away from this earth, his son became the emperor of the world, the proprietor of the 7 islands. He is referred to as a partial representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this world. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 10.41, it is said, Yad Yad Vimutimat Sattvam Srimad Urjitam Eva Va Tat Tad Eva Vagachcha Tvam Mamate Jongsha Sambhavam. Anyone extraordinarily powerful must be considered a partial representation of the opulence of the Supreme Godhead. Therefore, when the son of Maharaj Dushmanta became the emperor of the entire world, he was celebrated in this way. We haven't heard his name yet, have we? Interesting. Maharaj Bharat, the son of Dushmanta, had the mark of Lord Krishna's disc on the palm of his right hand, and he had the mark of a lotus whorl on the soles of his feet. By worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead with a grand ritualistic ceremony, he became the emperor and master of the entire world. Then, under the priesthood of Mamateya, Bhrigu Muni, he performed 55 horse sacrifices on the bank of the Ganges, beginning from its mouth and ending at its source, and 78 horse sacrifices on the bank of the Yamuna, beginning with the confluence at Prayag and ending at the source. That's a very hard thing to do. He established the sacrificial fire on an excellent site, and he distributed great wealth to the Brahmanas. Indeed, he distributed so many cows that each of thousands of Brahmanas had one Badba, 13,084 as his share. Purport. These things give us an idea of how opulent the earth was when everyone was living according to religious principles. Purport is indicated here by the words Daushmanter Agni Sachi Gune Chita. Bharat, the son of Maharaj Dushmanta, arranged for many ritualistic ceremonies all over the world, especially all over India, on the banks of the Ganges and Yamuna, from the mouth to the source, and all such sacrifices were performed in very distinguished places. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 3.9, Yagyartat Karmanonyatra Lokoyam Karmabandhanaha. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise work binds one to this material world. Everyone should engage in the performance of yajna, and the sacrificial fire should be ignited everywhere. The entire purpose being to make people happy, prosperous, and progressive in spiritual life. Of course, these things were possible before the beginning of Kali Yuga, because there were qualified brahmanas who could perform such yajnas. For the present, however, the Brahma Vaivarta Purana enjoins Ashwamedam Gavalambam Sanyasam Palapaitrikam Devarena Sutotpatim Kalaupancha Vivarjayat. CC Adi 17:164. In this age of Kali, 5 acts are forbidden: offering a horse in sacrifice, offering a cow in sacrifice, accepting the order of sannyas, offering oblations of flesh to the forefathers, and begetting children and the wife of one's brother. In this age, such yajnas as the Ashwamedha Yajna and Gomedha Yajna are impossible to perform because there are neither sufficient riches nor qualified brahmanas. This verse says, Mametyam Pudodaya. Maharaj Bharat engaged the son of Mamata, Bhrigu Muni, to take charge of performing this yajna. Now, however, such brahmanas are impossible to find. Therefore, the Shastras recommend Yagyai Sankirtana Prayaya Yajantihi Sumedasaha. Those who are intelligent should perform the Sankirtan Yajna inaugurated by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sangopangas Japarshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayaya Yajantihi Sumedasaha. In this age of Kali, people endowed with sufficient intelligence will worship the Lord, who is accompanied by his associates by performance of Sankirtan Yajna. Bhagavatam 11:5-32. Yajna must be performed, for otherwise people will be entangled in sinful activities and will suffer immensely. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement has taken charge of introducing the chanting of Hare Krishna all over the world. This Hare Krishna movement is also yajna, but without the difficulties involved in securing paraphernalia and qualified brahmanas. This congregational chanting can be performed anywhere and everywhere. If people somehow or other assemble together and are induced to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, all the purposes of yajna will be fulfilled. The first purpose is that there must be sufficient rain, for without rain there cannot be any produce. Anad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anasambhavaha. All our necessities can be produced simply by rainfall, kamam, babarsha parjanyak. And the earth is the original source of all necessities. Sarvakama duga mahi. In conclusion, therefore, in this age of Kali, people all over the world should refrain from the four principles of sinful life: illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling, and in a pure state of existence should perform the simple yajna of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Then the earth will certainly produce all the necessities for life, and people will be happy economically, politically, socially, religiously, and culturally. Everything will be in proper order. Text 27. Bharat, the son of Maharaj Dushmanta, bound 3,300 horses. You know, I was with Apple Care today, and they sorted my computer out. I was having troubles. But now, the thing that was on top that allowed me to reduce the... Oh, here it is. Bas. Done. Purport. Bharat, the son of Maharaj Dushmanta, bound 3,300 horses for those sacrifices, and thus he astonished all other kings. He surpassed even the opulence of the demigods, for he achieved the supreme spiritual master, Hari. Purport. One who achieves the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead certainly surpasses all material wealth, even that of the demigods in the heavenly planets. Yam labdva chaparam labam manyate nadikam tataha. The achievement of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the most exalted achievement in life. Text 28. When Maharaj Bharat performed the sacrifice known as Mashnara, or a sacrifice in the place known as Mashnara, he gave in charity 14 lakhs of excellent elephants, with white tusks and black bodies, completely covered with golden ornaments. Text 29. As one cannot approach the heavenly planets simply by the strength of his arms, for one can touch the heavenly planets, for who can touch the heavenly planets with his hands? One cannot imitate the wonderful activities of Maharaj Bharat. No one could perform such activities in the past, nor will anyone be able to do so in the future. Text 30. When Maharaj Bharat was on tour, he defeated or killed all the Kiratas, Hunas, Yavanas, Pondras, Kankas, Kashas, Shakas, and the kings who were opposed to the Vedic principles of Brahminical culture. Text 31. Formerly, after conquering the demigods, all the demons had taken shelter in the lower planetary system known as Rasatala, and had brought all the wives and daughters of the demigods there also. Maharaj Bharat, however, rescued all those women, along with their associates, from the clutches of the demons, and he returned them to the demigods. Text 32. Maharaj Bharat provided all necessities for his subjects, both on this earth and in the heavenly planets, for 27,000 years. He circulated his orders and distributed his soldiers in all directions. Text 33. As the ruler of the entire universe, Emperor Bharat had the opulences of a great kingdom and unconquerable soldiers. His sons and family had seemed to him to be his entire life. But finally he thought of all this as an impediment to spiritual advancement, and therefore he ceased from enjoying it. Purport. Maharaj Bharat had incomparable opulence in sovereignty, soldiers, sons, daughters, and everything for material enjoyment, but when he realized that all such material opulences were useless for spiritual advancement, he retired from material enjoyment. The Vedic civilization enjoins that after a certain age, following in the footsteps of Maharaj Bharat, one should cease to enjoy material opulences and should take the order of Vanaprastha. Text 34. O King Parikshit, Maharaj Bharat had 3 pleasing wives who were daughters of the king of Vidarbha. When all 3 of them bore children who did not resemble the king, these wives thought that he would consider them unfaithful queens and reject them, and therefore they killed their own sons. Oh my God. Hare Krishna. Text 35. The king, his attempt for progeny frustrated in this way, performed a sacrifice named Marut Stoma to get a son. The demigods, known as the Maruts, being fully satisfied with him, then presented him a son named Bharadwaj. Text 36. Prabhupada came, I think, from Gautama. It was either Gautama or Bharadwaj. His lineage came. Oh, yeah. When the demigod named Brihaspati was attracted by his brother's wife, Mamata, who at that time was pregnant, he desired to have sexual relations with her. The son within her womb forbade this, but Brihaspati cursed him and forcibly discharged semen into the womb of Mamata. Whoa. The sex impulse is so strong in this material world that even Brihaspati, who is supposed to be the priest of the demigods and a very learned scholar, wanted to have a sexual relationship with his brother's pregnant wife. Wow. This can happen even in the society of higher demigods, to what to speak of human society. The sex impulse is so strong that it can agitate even a learned personality like Brihaspati. Therefore, boys, it's time to get out of this material world. Hare Krishna. Text 37. Mamata very much feared being forsaken by her husband for giving birth to an illegitimate son, and therefore she considered giving up the child. But then the demigods solved the problem by enunciating a name for the child. Purport. According to Vedic scripture, whenever a child is born, there are some ceremonies known as Jatakarma and Namakarana, in which learned brahmanas, immediately after the birth of the child, make a horoscope according to astrological calculations. But the child to which Mamata gave birth was begotten by Brihaspati irreligiously. For although Mamata was wife of Uttatya, Brihaspati made her pregnant by force. Therefore Brihaspati became Bharta. According to Vedic culture, a wife is considered the property of her husband, and a son born by illicit sex is called Dvaja. The common word still current in Hindu society for such a son is Dogla. Dogla, like a dog, which refers to a son not begotten by the husband of his mother. In such a situation, it is difficult to name the child, to give the child a name according to proper regulated principles. Mamata therefore was perplexed, but the demigods gave the child the appropriate name, Bharadwaj, which indicated that the child born illegitimately should be maintained by both Mamata and Brihaspati. Text 38. Brihaspati said to Mamata, "You foolish woman, although this child was born from the wife of one man through the semen discharged by another, you should maintain him." Upon hearing this, Mamata replied, "O Brihaspati, you maintain him." After speaking in this way, Brihaspati and Mamata both left. Thus the child was known as Bharadwaj. Although encouraged by the demigods to maintain the child, Mamata considered him useless because of his illicit birth, and therefore she left him. Consequently, the demigods known as the Maruts maintained the child. And when Maharaj Bharat was disappointed for want of a child, this child was given to him as his son. Haribo. Purport. From this verse it is understood that those who are rejected from the higher planetary systems are given a chance to take birth in the most exalted families on this planet Earth. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 9th canto, 20th chapter of Srimad-Bhagavatam, entitled The Dynasty of Puru. So it's interesting how we're learning how birth in the demigods, it's not so exalted. There's all kinds of things that are going on there that making things not pure and not clean and not right. Therefore, demigods are praying to take birth in Kali Yuga after Lord Chaitanya appeared, so they can go back to Godhead just by chanting Hare Krishna. That's in the Shastra. Okay. I'll read the summary of 21, then we'll move on. Chapter 21, the Dynasty of Bharat. This 21st chapter describes the dynasty born from Maharaj Bharat, the son of Maharaj Dushmanta, and it also describes the glories of Rantidev, Ajamida, and others. The son of Bharadwaj was Manyu, and Manyu's sons were Chatra, Jaya, Mahabirya, Nara, and Garga. Of these 5, Nara had a son named Sankriti, who had 2 sons named Guru and Rantidev. As an exalted devotee, Rantidev saw every living entity in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore he completely engaged his mind, his words, and his very self in the service of the Supreme Lord and his devotees. Rantideva was so exalted that he would sometimes give away his own food in charity, and he and his family would fast. Once, after Rantidev spent 48 days fasting, not even drinking water, excellent food made with ghee was brought to him, but when he was about to eat it, a Brahmana guest appeared. Rantidev therefore did not eat the food, but instead immediately offered a portion of it to the Brahmana. When the Brahmana left and Rantidev was just about to eat the remnants of the food, a Shudra appeared. Rantidev therefore divided the remnants between the Shudra and himself. Again, when he was just about to eat the remnants of the food, another guest appeared. Rantidev therefore gave the rest of the food to the new guest and was about to content himself with drinking the water to quench his thirst. But this was also precluded, for a thirsty guest came and Rantidev gave him the water. This was all ordained by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just to glorify his devotee and show how tolerant a devotee is in rendering service to the Lord. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, being extremely pleased with Rantidev, entrusted him with very confidential service. The special power to render the most confidential service is entrusted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to a pure devotee not to ordinary devotees. Garga, the son of Bharadwaj, had a son named Shini, and Shini's son was Gargya. Although Gargya was a Kshatriya by birth, his sons became Brahmanas. The son of Mahabhirya was Duritakshaya, whose sons were of a Kshatriya king. They also achieved the position of Brahmanas. The son of Brihatkshatra constructed the city of Hastinapur and was known as Hasti. His sons were Ajamida, Dvimida, and Puramida. Hastinapur is Delhi. From Ajamida came Priyameda and other Brahmanas, and also a son named Brihadishu. The sons, grandsons, and further descendants of Brihadishu were Brihadhanu, Brihatkaya, Jayadratha, Vishada, and Senajit. From Senajit came four sons, Ruchirashva, Dridahanu, Kasya, and Vatsa. From Ruchirashva came a son named Para, whose sons were Pritusena and Nipa, and from Nipa came 100 sons. Another son of Nipa was Brahmadatta. From Brahmadatta came Vishwakshena. From Vishwakshena, Udakshena, and from Udakshena, Balata. The son of Dvimida was Yavinara, and from Yavinara came many sons and grandsons, such as Kritiman, Satyadriti, Dvidademi, Supashva, Sumati, Sanatiman, Kriti, Nipa, Ugrayuda, Chemya, Subira, Ripunjaya, and Bahurata. Purumida had no sons, but Ajamida, in addition to his other sons, had a son named Nila, whose son was Shanti. The descendants of Shanti were Shushanti, Puruja, Arka, and Bharmashva. Bharmashva had 5 sons, one of whom, Mudgala, begot a dynasty of Brahmanas. Mudgala had twins, a son, Divodasa, and a daughter, Ahalya. From Ahalya, by her husband, Gotama, Shatananda was born. The son of Shatananda was Satyadriti, and his son was Sharadwan. Sharadwan's son was known as Kripa, and Sharadwan's daughter was known as Kripi, and became the wife of Dronacharya. So now you see, coming down to 5,000 years ago. Hearing about all the different lines of authorities and people who are coming down to Krishna's time. Okay, we'll stop our reading tonight. It's 6 o'clock now, changed. So tomorrow you can remember 6 o'clock. Okay, I was going to start our reflections by one thought that came to my mind when we were reading. When it talked about Bharat and how he did something that no one else could do, no one else had ever done, and no one else would ever be able to do, I thought of our Prabhupada. How he did something that no one had ever done before, and no one will ever be able to do it again. Came to the West for the first time and spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, direct. That was my reflection. Okay. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prana. Enlighten us further.
Well, just from this summary of chapter 21, I liked the mention about Ranti Dev, which we'll read tomorrow, but how Prabhupada says in the summary here about how Krishna was extremely pleased with him and entrusted him with very confidential service, special power to render the most confidential service is entrusted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to a pure devotee, not to ordinary devotees. And I also thought of Srila Prabhupada when I heard that. And I thought about how practically for us, Ranti Dev's example of utter selfless self-sacrifice is really the necessary qualification in order to have any sort of empowerment or a taste for preaching and giving Krishna consciousness to others. One actually has to be willing to sacrifice oneself for the Krishna's pleasure and others to get that Krishna consciousness.
Yes, and the gopis say that person is the most magnanimous. Person who distributes Krishna consciousness is the most magnanimous.
We had a really nice day out there today.
Oh,
First day of school.
tell us about it. Go ahead. This is the real nectar.
Well, we set up on the campus, and we had a Harinam party. Three of us did chanting, and we set up a whole book table.
Nice.
And 3 of us did book distribution. We were out there only for 2.5 hours, but we distributed 60 books, and broke 100 Lakshmi, and it was just really, really blissful. The students were just coming to the table, flooding the table, actually.
Where the University of Houston?
Huh?
Where?
At the University of Houston. Yeah, we didn't even have to stop them. They were coming to us, so it was
because you
amazing.
guys are hearing like this every day, the Bhagavatam. This is what's going to happen.
That's right, Prabhupada.
Yes, this is what's going to happen. Just keep hearing this every day, and you'll become attractive and more attractive and more blissful, and we will revolutionize the Houston Yatra. Yes, Marcus.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
So we hear about these acts such as that personalities such as Brihaspati and these wives that killed their children. We hear about these acts that they performed, and so I was wondering what kind of, if any, sinful reactions did they obtain?
Well, they obviously did, but we don't hear about everything.
Okay.
There's many Puranas, and a lot of the background of these things are given in the various histories, itihasas and Puranas. And first of all, it's not possible to tell the details. As I mentioned the other day, Gopi actually counted them up. He was a real Bhagavatam scholar. He counted them up. There's 3,200, between 3,200 and 33 personalities mentioned in the Bhagavatam. And of those, there's 33 who are incarnations of God, who got some kind of mention. And some of them got, like Kapila Dev got 13 chapters. And some of them got just one mention in one verse. Like we just heard how Bharat got just a very short, mention. So there's so many things that are happening in the background of all these things. So you kind of have to piece it together by the details of those kinds of things are given in other places, in other personalities. You have to kind of piece it together, That's why it's very nice to read the whole thing and keep reading the whole thing. I know this is 47 years. Just in the last 5 years, this is my 3rd time through the Bhagavatam, right? And it's just, I can't explain to you how nectarian it is and how I'm putting things together. So if you just keep hearing this for the rest of your life, you'll learn everything. Prabhupada said that the Bhagavatam contains all knowledge capable now of people to assimilate. All knowledge, religious, cultural, social, moral, spiritual, economic, even military. It's all there. How to do things properly and how to do things not properly and what happens. So that's part of what you just mentioned. So let that curiosity, not kill the cat, but, drive you to want to hear more and more. Shu shu sho sharadanascha. So there's two. This is what Gopi was mentioning in the lecture today. Shu shu sho sharadanascha means two things. It means, shu shu sho means eagerness to hear, and sharadanascha means with faith. Will hear submissively. And then how you get it? Sanyi mahat sevaya vipra. You serve a great soul. If you serve Srila Prabhupada by distributing these books and explaining them to others and attracting them to come and hear and to see the deity and to chant Hare Krishna with the devotees, then you get everything. You actually get everything. And when you get everything, you become so satisfied. There's only one thing left to do, and that's to share it with others. And your whole life becomes the meaning of your life. And that is, Prabhupada said, that's real sannyas. Never mind what ashram you're in. It's not the changing of the cloth. It's this dedication of one's heart to give Krishna consciousness to others. Because that's what pleases Krishna the most. Thank you. Such good news. Going back out into the field to meet the students, give them books and enlighten them. Oh, I'm envious. Hare Krishna. What else? See how much this is going to be much better. We're going to start early and end earlier, and get a chance to get to bed earlier, and then we'll get more energy and we'll be good. More better. Yes, Bhakta Doug. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, there's a reflection by Rasika. He says...
Risika? The Risika? Yeah. Risiko Shiromani?
Rasika Shiromani Das.
He's got his feet up over there. It's like giving us some bliss.
He says, thank you, Guru Maharaj. Once again, we see the degradation and suffering caused by unrestrained sexual impulses.
He's on this one, isn't he? He's always on this one.
What seems...
It's the eternal monk. Rasika Vishiromani, the eternal monk.
He says, what seems so natural, so pure, so right on this end of the act proves itself to be the source of all material miseries.
There you go. Very nice. Kuvera, you got something?
No,
just hearing. You're just
there's
so...
a lot of names. So much detail is given.
Yes.
His son and his son and 10 sons.
Yes.
His son's names given.
Yes.
Their 10 sons.
Yes.
And so many names.
Yes.
It's accurate.
3,300.
Yeah. So many.
And they're just a little drop of, this is spanning, millions and millions and hundreds of millions of years.
Bharat was so powerful, was playing with a lamb.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is the same Barbara?
No. That's the son of Rishabdev. It's interesting you said that, because there are some authorities who say that Bharat Barsha, because to this day, on the currency of India, it's called Bharat Barsh. And even in some of the government offices, it's Bharat Barsh is used, not India. And that Bharat Barsha is, by some authorities, say that the son of Rishabdev, who was also the king of the earth and also did things that no one else could do, that the earth is named after him. And some people say that the earth was named after this part, the son of Dushmanta. Well, you're right. No, you're right. No, you're right, but it's either one's right. You know, if you say that each one of them could be, they're so exalted and so glorious. It's not so important to know every little detail. If you don't know that's what it means to be a Muni. You got to have an idea that nobody else has come up with. You know, it's different than anybody else. Until the next guy comes that's more intelligent and defeats you with his logic, and therefore you never become satisfied with that. Mahajana Yenikatasapanta. So we hear the Bhagavatam, and we hear the things being repeated that were given by Shukadev to Maharaj Parikshit, and Sutta was there. Sutta Goswami was there. Now Sutta Goswami was a Sutta. He was not an exalted Brahmana. And when it came time for the sages in Naimisharanya to put somebody on the seat, they chose Sutta, because he was there and he heard directly from Shukadev Goswami, and he had a perfect memory. So even though Shonaka was a great personality, he was famous for having all kinds of dhamshalas and jagyashalas all over India. He was a really big guy, Shonaka, and he was also I think Rig Veda. He wrote the pronunciation of the Rig Veda, a real high person, and yet he accepted Sutta as a knower of everything. You know, and in the assembly, usually the most learned person, the most exalted person, speaks in behalf of the assembly. So Shonaka is the one that's inquiring from Sutta. But then when he says the things that he says, that he tells the story of how those people told how others' authorities said it as one question and answer, layer upon layer upon layer. And usually it goes back to Narayan or to Narada Muni or to some Brahma or somebody very close to the top, you know, and eventually to Krishna directly. Bhagavad Gita. Yes.
In one of the purposes also says.
Wait.
The Brahmana sons are Satriya, and Satriya sons were also Brahmana. So it was not after the Krishna told Bhagavad Gita, we know the Guna Karma Vibhaga. It was even before that one, right? So it was always known, the Varnashram system, that it's by quality, not by lineage.
Yes. Yes.
So from the history.
Absolutely. It's there in the history of the universe. So, you know, when we hear these wonderful things, for materialists, when we hear these wonderful things, the tendency of the materialists is that it's just mythology. You know, we hear how the boar incarnation took the earth on its tusks and they know this just must be some. But they have no faith that Krishna can do anything. Therefore, Jiva Goswami said, unless you actually accept Achintya, that Krishna is actually Achintya, he can do anything. Then when you hear what he does, and you accept it with faith, then you become enlightened, you become powerful, and you become authority, and you become blissful, completely satisfied. It's the doubt. Ashadadana Purusha, Krishna says. Dharma sasya parantapa, aprapyamam nivartante, mrityu sangsarvam. One who has doubt in the scriptures and in the authorities that give the scriptures, then Asharadana Purusho, Dharma Syasya Parantapa, he cannot get in this life or next life happiness. Mrityu Sangsaravarman, he has to come back again and again and again. So this faith is so important, full faith, to hear. I'm sorry, you were going to read something? You got something more?
Yeah, no, I was waiting for you.
To me to stop?
Yeah, that was
Okay, I've stopped.
You finished.
Next, I've finished.
This is more from Rasika. He was just expanding more on what he said earlier. He quotes Bhagavad Gita. He says, that happiness which seems like nectar in the beginning and poison in the end is happiness in the mode of passion. But that happiness which is like poison in the beginning but turns to nectar is happiness in the mode of goodness. I am on this subject for the sake of the young men, because I know that if they get this one straight, Not only will they keep from much misery, they will help others avoid such suffering by becoming and helping others to come to the perfection of life. Purity is our strength.
Hare Krishna. Rasika has spoken. The eternal monk. Okay, thanks Rasika. And we're going to stop there. It's 7:15. So you see how nice this 6 o'clock starting thing is. It's much better. We'll get to bed early. Yeah, it's much better.
We have more time.
Yes, yes, much better. Okay, what can I say? There's so many persons to say Jai to because we heard not hundreds, but lots of names. But Bharat Maharaj, Bharadwaj, Hare Krishna, Srimad-Bhagavatam ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. We'll see you same time tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. Now, it's a new time for the weekdays, so we can all get to bed earlier. And at the live studios here in Radha Lane, we'll see you at 6 o'clock tomorrow to continue this journey of purifying our hearts, waking us up to the bliss of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow night.